The restraints of prison have nothing on the restraints of my own mind. This is the story of how judgment from family, society, church kept me in mental chains and how I started to break free. I used to be a correctional officer. There is danger that comes with that job for sure, but as jobs go, it wasn't a difficult job to do. I worked in a state prison, and for the most part, the inmates knew what was required. A lot of them had been acclimated to prison life. There was a certain time the inmates were required to get up and go to bed. There was a certain time inmates were to eat meals. In the child hall, they were limited to a certain amount of time to eat. Each dorm was to enter the child hall in an orderly fashion and exit in an orderly fashion. There were certain times inmates were allowed to take showers. There was a certain way inmates were expected to be dressed when leaving the dormitory. There was even certain sections they were allowed to walk on the sidewalks to go anywhere on the prison grounds. Anywhere they were allowed to go on the campus, they were to do it in an orderly fashion. No talking, looking straight ahead, etc. So I didn't have to do a lot as far as giving them orders. They knew what they were required to do, how to do it, and when to do it. In prison, they were not allowed to go outside of the required restraints. They knew how to behave in those limitations for the most part and acted accordingly. But after retiring and as I began to heal from my burnout, I realized that the restraints of prison had nothing on the restraints of my own mind. I noticed that for most of my life that I was living in a personal prison full of the screams of my negative internal thoughts from a lifetime of judgment from society, my family and friend circle, and church. As a correctional officer, I was considered in charge. I was to make sure things were under control. But in my own mind, I didn't have things under control. My negative thoughts were in control. I realized I was in a prison with no bars, no locked doors, just screeching thoughts, the thoughts of shame, fear, and guilt. My mother was of the silent generation. She grew up in a world where black children had to be perfect just to be seen as human. She was a strict parent. She believed strictness was survival. So she demanded that I speak properly, act properly, because the world outside wouldn't forgive my mistakes. But in that process, as a child, the message I received wasn't love. It was judgment. Now I know she wasn't trying to harm me. She was trying to save me. But survival at the expense of self-esteem, my self-esteem, still leaves scars. That judgment, layered by a society that told me I was not good enough, that I was expected to work twice as hard to only get half as far because my features, my hair, my skin tone ordered that. That judgment was also layered by church, where it was important to live a life pleasing to God so as to ensure I didn't go to hell. Church taught me that I was born a sinner, that I was not worthy from birth. All of these layers of judgment told me I had to be perfect to be worthy. These layers of judgment told me mistakes meant failure. These layers of judgment told me my own voice couldn't be trusted. No self-expression for me. These layers became the prison bars in my mind. Failing others would have been equivalent to hell in my mind. I think the hardest part of freeing myself of these layers of judgment, of these boundaries, is the process. The process is so slow. I have good days and bad days. No, not just bad days. Really heavy days. Some days the struggle of maintaining my confidence and self-esteem ain't no joke. If you could see my conversations with ChatGPT, but I strive anyway. I strive to not let these screaming negative thoughts, my inner critic, have complete control. Doing things like journaling, meditating, thinking out loud, and watching motivational YouTube videos are some of the things I do to regain my power and quiet the noise inside my head. December 26, 2024, I uploaded my first YouTube video for this channel. For months prior, I had been writing down my thoughts and struggles, trying to make sense of everything swirling in my head. Eventually, the idea came to me: start a YouTube channel and share my struggles with anyone who might be able to relate. The idea seemed simple enough at first. There's power in telling the truth about our struggles, because sometimes knowing you're not alone is the first step toward healing. There's beauty in that. But almost as soon as the idea took shape, my inner critic showed up, ready to tear apart the beauty before it could even take root. It filled my mind with doubts, fears, and all the reasons why I wasn't quote-unquote good enough to share anything with anyone. The fear didn't leave just because the idea was good. The doubts didn't disappear just because I had good intentions. The inner critic stayed loud. The fear stayed real. But somehow, I stayed too. And with all of that noise screaming in my head, I hit record anyway. To the old me, the one who was scared to share, scared to be seen, scared to be judged, I see you. I see how heavy the world made your voice feel. I see how you carried the weight of everyone else's expectations like chains wrapped around your dreams. I know you thought you weren't ready. I know you thought you weren't enough. I know you thought someone else had to tell you it was okay to begin. But here's what I know now. You were always ready. You were always enough. You didn't need permission. You just needed to believe yourself over the noise. You were never asking for perfection. You were asking for freedom. And now, you're finally learning how to live free. If you're a prisoner of your own mind, I see you. And I promise you, even slow progress is real progress. You don't have to be fearless to be free. You just have to move anyway. I'm still moving. I'm still freeing myself, one step, one truth, one breath at a time. And so can you. You have been listening to Unmasking the Struggle. May your struggle reveal your strength and the freedom you deserve. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you next time.